a thrilling love story between a human and a Jinni. A tale of love, passion and romance between a human and a Jinni, narrated by the very person who lived through all its details and memories, which still haunt him to this day. For lovers of romance and fantasy, this is an extraordinary love story exclusively presented here. An old man recounted this story that happened to him when he was a young man in his 30s. He lived in an eastern region of Saudi Arabia and owned a small farm. This young man was very much into agriculture and raising animals, spending most of his day at his small farm caring for the plants and animals, and rarely going to the city. This young man was known for his good character and piety. He was beloved by the people, and he was also exceptionally handsome, with a sweet face and pleasant demeanor, making everyone who met him instantly like him for his good qualities. His farm was located in the middle of a barren desert with few water sources. He tried to find a new water source, thinking of hiring some workers to dig a deep well to bring water to his small farm. Indeed, the digging began, and they found a spot in the ground indicating the presence of water. That day the man returned home feeling happy and hopeful, and he went to sleep in his room at the farm alone. He woke up just before dawn to perform his prayer, but as soon as he woke up he smelled a very strong and strange fragrance. It was a beautiful scent, as if from paradise, coming from the well. The man was astonished by this and suddenly saw the vision of an extremely beautiful and fair woman standing near the well, covered in a magnificent white cloak with long, thick and stunning hair. She was so beautiful that words could not describe her, and the lovely fragrance was emanating from her, enhancing her beauty and femininity. The man stood there, stunned by her beauty, unable to move, with 1,000 questions in his mind. Who was this woman? Where did she come from? And what brought her to this place? After some time, the man gathered his courage and asked her, "Who are you?" She replied, "It doesn't matter who I am." The man said, "But it's strange that you come alone to this place and there are no inhabitants here at all." She repeated, "It doesn't matter who I am or where I came from." The man thought she might be the daughter of one of the Bedouin families who come to this place at certain times of the year. He asked her again where she wanted to go and what she was doing at the farm so late at night. She said she wanted to meet him the next day after sunset on the sand dune. The man agreed immediately, and they arranged the meeting. The man returned to his room not caring at all about who this woman was or where she came from. All he could think about was their meeting the next day, and her beauty that had enchanted him from the first glance. The man began meeting her daily at the same place and time. Her beauty bewitched him to the utmost degree, and he could think of nothing but her day and night. The devil tempted him into committing intimacy with this woman, deepening his attachment and love for her. However, he did not want to persist in sinning against God, so he offered to marry her. She always evaded the topic. One day, she asked him the strangest question he had ever heard. "If I were a Jinni, would you still want to marry me?" He replied immediately, thinking she was joking to test his love for her. "By God, I would marry you and never leave you." She said, "I am a Jinni." The man laughed and said, "This is no time for jokes. I want to marry you and love you very much." She pointed to where the man was standing and said, "Look, there are your footprints in the sand." She then pointed to the sand beneath her and said, "But do you see my footprints?" The man was puzzled and said, "No, I don't see any." At that moment, the man believed that his beloved was a real Jinni. However, this did not stop him from loving her. He loved her to the extreme and was captivated by her beauty beyond measure. He said to her, "I love you no matter who you are, and I want to marry you." She said that her tribe would never agree to her marrying a human. The woman cried and hugged him, saying she did not want to get more attached to him and that their love was impossible and they could never get married. Suddenly the woman disappeared from his arms and he never saw her again. The man abandoned his farm and shunned life. Despite the passing years until his hair turned gray, he remained madly in love with this Jinni.